Well, y'all, the fallout continues as the Civil War grows on the Dems. The progressives have made a move. The moderates of the middle, the establishment, aren't liking that move, and they just threw everything they could to begin the fight back. This is going to be one you're going to love. I've got clips on clips on clips, and I need to hear your thoughts on every single one of them right down there in the comments area. Of course, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. If you want to continue to save the country, cut through the propaganda like an old Bugs Bunny cartoon, I'd love to have you here, so make sure you do just these things. And of course, send this stuff out because you know what? Saving the country alone is lonely. We might as well get as many people as we can. All right, let's get right into this. You can follow me on X at Braden LOA. I am not going to bury the lead on you guys. This is important. So you remember that whole clip with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, and I told you in a live stream, and I told you there was fallout afterwards, and we were talking about how this was going to have ramifications, and you're going to see all of that go on this week. That was kind of like the memo went out. Well, it may or may not have something to do with this. Absolutely, actual polling from Interactive Polls today. This is from RMG, excuse me. The economy is 23%. Immigration is 20%. Hey, do you remember that clip that I showed you with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama saying that the border wasn't open? We're a nation of laws. We have to actually have a border policy that's sane. And mass immigration and mass migration was a destabilizing event. Remember that when I told you that, like I showed you the clip? I didn't tell you, I showed you, right? Well, it turns out that the progressives, now that we did call, aren't liking it too much. But there's ramifications happening on both sides. Watch this. 20% of the population, or excuse me, immigration is number 2 with 20% putting it on the most important issues, okay? If you understand anything historically, you would know that in the 2024 election, it was the exact same. The economy, number 1, immigration, number 2. Donald Trump positioned on immigration. He's delivering on immigration, and they're now backing off on the left on immigration because of those exact same issues. They're losing the concept. They didn't change anybody's minds, which you're going to see all the moderation right now. This right here is why you saw the moderation move over the weekend with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, and now you can throw a few more on the pyre, okay? 58% think that the Democratic Party is too liberal of the entire population. You can't win with that number. I told you, the left has gone from a position of parasite into host. They have now moved and taken over the Democrat Party. The establishment is now trying to correct what they're doing. They are trying to soften that 58% number. Watch. You've got AOC going out and reaffirming her stance on anti-ICE. Watch this. This is the progressive wing of this little conflagration.
Important to remember that there are more of us than them. And to your earlier question, when you said, what do you say to people who don't know what to do in this time? Every one of us can be sand in the gears of an injustice. And whether it is a delay, whether it is saying no, I think about how all the people in Minneapolis refused to let ICE officers use the bathroom in their establishments. I mean, it's a small thing, but it matters. It matters.
So you can see the far left and the progressives aren't going to back off this position. They can't. They will not. It's their identity, which is why the moderates in the middle and the establishment are going after them on this number, 58%. Remember what I showed you a second ago. Immigration is 20% of the population's number 2. Actually, 20% is number 1. It's number 2 overall. Y'all, you're watching this happen in slow motion. This post is reaffirming what we talked about with the exact same post. Younger Democrats and leftists will not concede an inch on total open borders. Anything short of that is deemed fascist and racist. Right, because it's part of their ideology. They are true believers. And then you've got the people who are being realistic like Van Jones. Listen to this. Again, keep in mind, number 2 issue. Okay? Van Jones. Voter ID is not unreasonable. How hard is it to get IDs in poor and rural communities is unreasonable. We can fix both. Whoa. How are you going to... Wait a minute. I thought, and I was told, you guys can correct me in the comments if I was wrong, But I was told that asking someone for an ID is a racist action and it was Jim Crow 2.0. Now, Van Jones, one of the CNN Democrat acolytes and voices of reason of the Democrats on CNN, is saying that it's not unreasonable to ask for ID to vote. What the hell is happening? Well, I can tell you what's happening. It's an 85% issue from all population in the United States. That's why he is pivoting and trying to soften the approach of, yeah, it's okay to get IDs, but let's just make sure everyone gets IDs. Congratulations, welcome to the table. That's what everyone has been on saying on the right side the entire time. Everyone gets an ID, everyone presents an ID. This is not a new novel idea brought forward as some sort of compromise so they can get Democrats on board and say, look, we got something, we got a pound of flesh too. This is where they're going, guys. This is a losing position if you're the far left progressives. Democracy requires two things: fair access to the ballot and fair counting of the ballots. Right now, neither side trusts the other. That is unsustainable. When both parties distrust elections, democracy is in danger. The democracy in danger just got weaponized in a different direction. Voter ID is perfectly fine now. Just make sure everyone has an ID. We can agree. We have an accord, Van. I'll stand next to you on that one. That's easy. That's the conservative position. I love that they're couching it as like, oh, it's a miracle. You want some more evidence of this whole backlash, establishment Democrat versus progressive Democrat? Okay. Here's the governor of Maryland coming out and saying that Biden screwed the pooch on the border. Yeah, because this is just coincidental, a day after Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama dropped nukes right on progressives' heads.
Governor Wes Moore announcing he will not be running for president in 2028 in a town hall over the weekend. Moore also throwing a jab at his fellow Democrat, former President Biden, over his handling of the border.
Well, I definitely think that the former president did not have this right. Oh, yes. And we needed to do more. That I don't think anyone can argue that we had the system worked out under President Biden.
During that meeting, Moore...
Heresy? Sacrilege? You got the governor of Maryland, a far-left blue state, saying that Biden didn't have the border figured out and we needed to have things put back together after them telling us for 4 years everything's fine and you're an absolute asshole conspiracy theorist if you think differently? You see how this is working, guys? Voter ID is racist and it's horrible and it's Jim Crow 2.0 until they figure out that the polling is completely against them. And now all of a sudden the big compromise is to do the exact conservative position. Okay. Look, we're going to keep on going. I got even more. Stephen A. Smith. This guy has been positioning himself politically for about a year and a half. And he has some solid takes. He does have some solid takes. There's also some that aren't solid. I don't care. I'm never going to vote in a Democratic primary because I'm not a Democrat. But listen to what he said. Stephen A. Smith is now considering running for president as a Democrat in 2028. And wouldn't you know it, all of a sudden, we have a immediate shift to the middle. This is Democrat broad politicians everywhere. The ones who are establishment connected and who want to win and they want to get rid of the far left progressives are making the beginnings of the moves. AOC is doubling, tripling, quadrupling down, and the progressives are gonna. And then the establishment is trying to push the party away from that 58% that Harry Hinton refers to as the crazy liberals. Okay? Listen to this. Tell me if you were going to hear this 6 weeks ago on CBS.
Does you worry about racism if he ran for president?
No. I know it exists. I know that you can't escape it, but I do not believe it is as prevalent as some on the left would like us to believe. I do believe a vast majority of Americans judge you on the content of your individual character rather than the color of your skin. I think a lot of people in America, especially in this day and age, now more so than ever before, it's not about race. It's about the fact that they don't give a damn about it because they got their own problems. That's entirely different than believing they are superior to you and they want to hold you back from ascending. That's not what's going on to the degree that it was decades ago. What's going on now is that we have more white Americans and others suffering and worried about the state of our nation. And because they're concerned about that, that's where their worries lie.
All right, guys, are you keeping track at home? Because now, of all the positional shifts that are happening on the Democrat Party, which I told you, the moderates in the middle was going to have to take a move against the progressives because progressives are taking over. So now, in that move, you've got racism doesn't really exist, and it's not the blown out of proportion problem that the left proposes it because it's a control point. Then you've got the governor of Maryland, Wes Moore, saying that Biden screwed up the border and we should have done something better as a Democrat governor of Maryland. That's an establishment creature right there. Yet Hillary Clinton and Obama talked about it 2 days ago, how it was a destabilizing event and they screwed it up. You've got Van Jones as the big compromise now from the Democrat Party is to do voter ID, but make sure everyone gets an ID, which is the conservative position. You have AOC doubling, tripling, quadrupling down as the progressive. And meanwhile, you have this little cloud on the horizon. Wouldn't you know it? Kamala Harris is now at 38% to take the Democratic nomination for president in 2028. Kamala Harris. Gavin Newsom's at 13%, which brings me around the bend to the other irony of ironies here. Would you look at that? Nancy Pelosi is boosting Gavin Newsom as a potential contender for the White House in 2028. Yep. They're trying to push away from Kamala. They're trying to get away from the far left progressive wing by going with an establishment California progressive. Guys, what you're looking at is Game of Thrones Democrat style. It's been going on behind the scenes for a while, and it's starting to percolate to the top surface. And this is about to be a hell of a thing. Make sure you have your popcorn. I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.